Who initiates sex more in marriage?
Position that minus the clothes you could be having sex in.
No sex till marriage. Nothing. No grabbing the.
Yeah.
What?
I feel like you're breathing really hard.
Am I breathing hard?
Okay, how do you keep God in the center of your relationship or marriage or even in singleness? It's gonna be about porn. Do all guys struggle with porn? Okay, sorry, we're getting to the spicy physical boundaries. Okay, people, would you want to be married as soon as you can? Okay, this is a very controversial question, so keep that in mind. I just want to show the ladies up close.
Oh, this is not what I want.
Do you think it's a woman's duty to cook all the time or do the chores alone?
My first kiss is not gonna be with a camera.
No! Okay, we need some fresh ones. Is anybody behind me? No.
Wait, no,
Get behind me.
Is there a
gas.
No.
Satan might be here.
Satan.
Nope. Oh, this is gonna be a long video.
Close the windows, it's cold and my muscles are shrinking.
Head pastors right over there. Just,
Hey! This is kingdom work, Daniel. It's for the Lord, Daniel.
I'm driving.
Pastor Daniel.
I'm calling
the
police. I can whisper sweet nothings into Jacob's ears.
This whole operation was your idea.
Green flags in a guy. We should say gingers.
I'd like to weigh in. Are you guys gonna say? What is up, you guys? It's katyy, and today I brought in my guy friends in order to answer your questions that you've sent in to me. Right, guys?
yeah.
Yup.
Feeling ready.
If you haven't seen my last two videos, I've done asking a Christian guy questions girls are too afraid to ask. And I did it with just one single guy. So I thought it'd be fun if I brought in a single guy, married guy, and a guy who's dating to answer all your questions to cover all bases. Wait, why don't we give a little bio?
I'm Steven. I think I'm 22. I've been single for...
You didn't have to say for how long.
I've been single for 5 years. Going strong.
He's single, ladies.
Christian man.
My name's Drayton. I believe that I'm 24 and I am married. I have been with my wife 5.5 years and we've been married for almost 3.
And I love her. She's my best friend.
I am Jacob. I have been dating someone for just 4 months.
Great, so before we get on to the video, how this video is going to work is we're gonna do the pretty chill questions at the beginning, and then as the video gets longer, we're gonna be progressively getting more TMI and the juicy questions you want to know. That's like more spicy.
Maybe 3.
Don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you want to see another part 2, just comment down below and I'll force these guys to do it again. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Happy to be here.
Okay. He lifts his hands up in church and you feel God tell you he's the one. Should I believe it?
Yikes. Should do some further investigation.
Like what?
A lot of Christians have had a moment where they feel God tell them someone they're the one. Usually someone you don't know very well and probably just met.
And you think they're attractive.
And it's usually on some kind of worship high moment, like a camp or a concert or something like that. It could be God. I'm not saying it couldn't. It's probably not.
But you need some testing.
Yeah.
You can
I
just
would
test it out.
I would try to just get to know them first, be a little more chill, pray about it, think about it, and try to decide if that's God or if that's your own brain.
Do you put boundaries around your friendships with girls? You guys have boundaries with your friendships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe not explicitly, but yes. There's both physical boundaries, but also like emotional boundaries as well. I don't want to overshare with girls because I think that's a little unhealthy if you're single. And I think just physical boundaries. I mean, I'm a little bit more strict about my boundaries, and I live by the rule that I wouldn't do anything with a girl now that I wouldn't do with a girl if I was in a relationship with another girl, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I definitely have boundaries. Like, for instance, I wouldn't have like a girl over to like my residence without my wife being there. Friendships with females, I think, especially in the context of marriage, kind of works like we're both friends with them. So like we kind of act out that friendship as a collective, if that kind of makes sense.
Very similarly, like you don't want to be doing anything that could even be perceived as romantic or sexual or cheating or anything. So I think with like opening up, sort of like conversation, intimacy is a big one. For myself, I wouldn't have like a friend who's a girl be like someone I would go to for like emotional support or something like that. Like that should be God or my girlfriend or my guy friends. It shouldn't be a girl.
I like it, guys. Good job. This one is a little more spicy, but I have no idea.
Getting right into it.
Is it hard or was it hard to not have sex before marriage as a guy?
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
You guys are ridiculous.
Yes.
Yes, definitely. Like, if it's not a struggle, maybe you should question why it's not a struggle. I think, you know, you should be physically attracted to the person that you're with if God intends you to be with them long term through marriage, which probably shouldn't be super easy.
I'm just never in the position where that's even like an option. You know, I'm never like alone with a girl in an area where one could do such a thing. That's my wisdom.
In a relationship, it's also very hard. You want to have sex. That's like a desirable thing. You're making sure that your boundaries are set up in a way that it's not easy to do. It's not like it could just happen. Like, you're going to be spending time where you are alone with your girlfriend, so you want to have boundaries and practice like not getting in a situation that could easily lead to sex. And that's hard.
Talking to your wife about this. Your wife is very wise. She was talking about the desire to have sex is not bad. Like, when you're in a relationship, you have a sex drive and that's not bad. It's when you act on it or fantasize about it or push boundaries to like satisfy that. That's when it's bad. But like, the desire in itself is not bad. If
Sex
you're
is
dating someone.
from God, so it is natural. But at the same time, you do need to be fleeing temptation. Like, just not having sex isn't good enough.
It's not everything up until the line.
Yeah, you are fleeing temptation. You are not putting yourself in situations on purpose that will make you want to have sex, even if you're like, oh, but we don't.
What stands out to you most in like a Christian girl? What stands out to you most? Good characteristic to have?
Don't look at me.
I want to hear from
I want to hear you first.
Okay. What attracted me to my girlfriend initially, and this is gonna sound cheesy as heck, so I am sorry, but it was her passion for God. And I, like, if that is not the thing that attracted you to a girl, like if you're like, oh, I just thought she was like attractive, that's totally fine. But that was just the first thing that I really noticed, and it is because she just talks about it all the time, and that really stood out. What made her seem dateable for me was, yes, very attractive, on fire for God, and just like personality matched with mine in the sense that she's very adventurous.
Okay.
She's compatible with me. Yeah, compatibility. And that's gonna be context dependent for you.
In a delightful contrary to Jacob's situation, I was attracted to my wife because we are very, very opposite, but in a way that complemented each other. We're quite different in many ways, but yeah, in ways that still like meshed well together and complemented each other. A very confident ability to kind of not care what other people think in terms of like, you know, being bold about her faith and just living her life the way that she wants to in a way of faith.
This is a very controversial question, so keep that in mind.
I wanna get you canceled.
Do you think it's a woman's duty to cook all the time or do the chores alone?
No. Alone?
Biblically,
Next
some
question.
people would say that.
I think it's important to understand how you could definitely derive that from the Bible, and I think it's all about picking someone as a mate that you agree with on that. Because I've met women who are like, all I want to do is get married, have kids, and like take care of the house while my husband goes and works. And I think that's totally fair and justifiable. That's something that's a desire that God has placed in your heart. But I think today, at the end of the day, you need to find someone that matches that. I personally don't see myself not doing chores.
I'm okay doing chores and I will do chores.
And yeah, I think it's all about just finding compatibility in that and respecting one another and making.
It's a good answer.
More importantly than anything, just on the same page with your partner. I don't think there's necessarily a right or a wrong to that.
Me personally, I'm not a good cook, but I like to cook, so I attempt it. I take time at it. I like to make things.
Straighten, this one's from your lovely wife. This is a spicy question. Who initiates sex more in marriage or shots?
Be extremely honest.
I think like in a sexual relationship with your partner, if you're to try and like keep a point system, you should always be trying to put tallies on your partner's board.
You get a point for initiating or a point for initiating and successfully initiating?
I heard this in marriage counseling, specifically about having sex and about pleasing your partner, and it was about like you should always be trying to have your partner be 1 point ahead of you. Kind of like a sacrificial idea where like you should always be trying to put your partner before yourself.
And not just pleasing yourself.
And pursue them and care for them most and try and keep them 1 point ahead, if that kind of makes sense.
I've never thought of that. That's good.
I have, but you know.
Okay, people, would you want to be married as soon as you can, or did you want to be married as soon as you could?
No.
Often in the church, people often get married pretty quick. So my wife and I were together for 2 years. 2 years, and then we were engaged for 1 more year in addition to that.
I think what throws me off with that question is as soon as you can. That makes it seem like I could get married at any point. Like as soon as we finish this video, I could just call my girlfriend.
Be like, hey, wanna go downtown? Let's get married.
I'm not gonna do that. So I guess my answer is no. I think there are things that you need to be sure of before you get married.
Marriage is a lifelong commitment.
There are some conditions that need to be met For me, I would like a bit of financial security. Own a home would be good, or at least be like moved in and renting somewhere. It's just a lot to figure out.
Like
if
having
you're
a
getting,
setup.
Yeah, if you're getting married and within the same year you're getting married, you also have to like find a job or like graduate or get a house. Like all that stuff happening at once is
That's a
often how
lot.
it goes, but that's a lot to deal with. If it's getting married as soon as I can, meaning like as soon as I'm comfortable with all of those things, then yeah, probably, as long as I've spent a good amount of time
And
with
you know you want to
my
marry them.
girlfriend and I know I want to marry them.
Personally, a rule of thumb that like I was kind of told growing up was you should be with the person for at least one time around the sun, you know, like every season. They might go crazy in like November.
All the 4 seasons.
Yeah, for all 4
yeah.
seasons kind of thing. I think that that's kind of a comfortable rule.
Okay, so the next question, guys, is spicy. It's gonna be about porn.
That's what half of
My channel's about. Side note, one time somebody
said
called me the porn girl, and I was with my friend who's like doesn't know I have social media, and she was like, "You do porn?" I was like, "No." Anyways, do all guys struggle with porn?
Yeah.
Yep. No, there was a famous quote that 99% of guys struggle with porn and 1% are lying. So, yeah.
The vast majority.
If you find one that hasn't, tell them to give me a call.
I don't think we need to elaborate
Yeah,
on
the
that.
answer is yes.
Do guys actually confide in their other guy friends about stuff like dating, singleness, engagement, marriage, and not just memes about it, but like actually confiding?
I was gonna say, yeah, we said me.
That was a good call out, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, not as often as I assume girls do. Yeah. Like last week I talked to my good friend for a while because we're both in relationships, just about like our engagement timeline and stuff. I don't know, guys usually ask each other for like relationship advice.
Last week I spent an hour and a half in a car with 4 guys, and that's all we talked about. So.
Yeah.
So guys have feelings?
Yeah.
No.
There's a lot of memes too.
Memes
So
are the
it's just-
best.
Memes are a great way.
Okay, how do you keep God in the center of your relationship or marriage or even in singleness?
So anybody can answer this.
I think a big part for me is realizing that like it doesn't start when you're in a relationship, it starts when you're before you're in a relationship. Because I think it's almost harder when you're in a relationship. And some people are like, oh, I'm just gonna like find a girl and like God's just gonna be the center of that relationship, even though he isn't the center of me.
My
now.
life, yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's a really poor way of going into it. For me, single, I'd rather just start now. That way I can then continue it and hopefully, well, not hopefully, but find someone who also has them at the center of their life right now. And then we can just merge those two together.
Because if you have God in the center of like your life, it should pour into your relationships. And I'm not even just talking about romantic ones, but even like friendships, or even with like you should be set apart in your workplace or like whatever. And so if God is actually the center of your life, that will overflow into aspects of your life.
If you're not a righteous man before being with a partner, then you're not really going to be any more righteous with them. Like your partner is going to help you work towards and, you know, pursue God. If that's of no part of you prior to, just being in a relationship isn't
gonna
going
do
to like
anything.
all of a sudden like make you some sort of super spiritual like holy righteous person. You need to start with that as a solo unit before you bring that to someone else.
Yeah. In a relationship, making sure God is the center of it is to make sure it's like discussed in your relationship, like even in an accountability way, where you're just checking up, like how are you doing with your Bible readings? How are you doing with scripture readings? Like how's your prayer life? Like I think those are good questions for your SO. Praying with each other, like before you eat, like when you go out on dates. A big one for me is not skipping church to like go on a date. One of the boundaries me and my girlfriend have is before we like kiss for a potentially longer period of time, we pray out loud with each other. Pray to like keep boundaries and like keep holy, and also like if you have a problem with crossing boundaries,
It feels pretty weird to do after you've immediately prayed.
In that example, or even in all the examples, it's just like always turning to the Lord for your strength in temptation, or strength in like when you're fighting, or even like just turning to the Lord to encourage one another to serve him at church or go to church or have fellowship or have community. But what are relationship boundaries? Because like I know boundaries are kind of subjective, but also it's like lust is a sin. Yeah, physical boundaries. And let's talk about emotional and spiritual.
You know no boundaries. No boundaries! None!
that's a lie.
But I have probably the strictest boundaries of
Yes,
most
I
people.
believe you. I want to hear him first though. You don't have to share.
And this does not mean that somebody is more holy than the other.
No.
Just
It
putting
just
that
means
out there.
someone's wrong. Just kidding.
Most important thing with boundaries is that like your boundaries aren't a loophole to experience sex and sexual feelings without it exactly being sex, or like the penetration of sex. Like even if you're doing everything up until sex, that's still a sin, because that's lust. That's a big thing. I think it's a mindset too, is because like you can definitely kiss somebody for a longer time and this just be like, oh, I'm showing them love and affection and whatever. Or it can be like, oh, I'm trying to get turned on right now and I'm trying to like be pretty sexual or sexy or whatever. And that's not okay. It does depend on per person, because I know some people who don't kiss till marriage because they know that even if they do kiss, that temptation is so strong that they don't want to do it. Then there's some people who can like mac and like it is okay.
My biggest thing is I want to honor my future wife as best as possible. And so I feel like the less I do now, the better.
Well, obviously you don't have much boundaries now.
No. I'm gonna take the approach of like your spiritual life. Just as with emotional and with physical boundaries, you should also have, I guess you could say, spiritual boundaries. So like, even though you're like, oh, well, we've been dating for like 3 weeks and, you know, we're not gonna do anything physical because we're gonna emotionally guard ourselves, but like you're freely and willing to, I don't know, have like intimate prayer with each other for like an extended period of time, intimate like worship time or something. That should progress as your like emotional and physical relationship does, respectively. You know, you should start that in a healthy place, and yeah, like just, I don't know, guard your heart, I guess, right? Because that's a vulnerable piece of you, just like your emotions and your physicality is, right? So you should protect that.
So emotional boundaries first. Like, I think one we've recently talked about, which is fresh in my mind, is just like, who do you go to talk about issues like within a relationship? Don't go to anyone in anger. Like if you're really like ticked off at your like SO, which might happen.
Probably will happen.
Don't go to someone to just like rant and like talk crap about them. Like take a minute to process it. And if you need to talk to someone for advice or even just to talk to someone, make sure you've like dealt with it a bit first. And you should have people that you've previously discussed that are okay to go talk to. But yeah, just making sure that you're not talking to other people in a way that like puts them down. I think that's a big one, because there are times where like you might just need to talk to someone else, but it should not be out of anger or spite or anything.
Okay, sorry, we're getting to the spicy
Moving on to
physical
physical
boundaries.
That's what everyone wants to hear about anyways. Don't be doing anything that actively turns each other on. That's gonna be dependent. Maybe if someone has like a weird thing that turns them on, that needs to be on the list. Bro, that sounds weird, but that's true. That's literally true.
Shoes stay on in the house at all times.
Clothes stay on. No hands going under the clothes. No kissing anywhere that clothes would cover. No like hickeys or anything. You don't want to be doing it like a situation where you could end up like sleeping together, or like there's like no sense of accountability in that space. If it's a position that minus the clothes you could be having sex in, that's no.
No sex till marriage, nothing!
Just like no loopholes, or like just be honest with yourself. Like don't lie to yourself. Like, you know, if you're just
The
like,
Lord knows.
oh well, like only sexual stuff can happen below the waist, so you're like, well, only above the waist. Like don't lie to yourself. Like come on. No loopholes.
You can be very turned on by things that are not sex. So you need to watch yourself.
Yeah, being truthfully honest with yourself, because if you really think about it, you'll know what your stumbling blocks are, and you'll know what your temptations are going to be if you truly want to be honest with yourself.
Yeah, and I think just good rule of thumb is no grabbing the sexual parts.
Even over clothes.
Even over clothes. Upstairs and downstairs.
Get out.
My video. We're gonna do a rapid fire questions. So they're supposed to be fast, and like whoever answers. Favorite first date setting / activity.
The gym.
What's a red flag in a girl?
Being mean.
No life goals.
You don't have to answer. Green drug. Okay. Should she initiate the first date or you?
Me.
Not a rule, but guys, just has to grow up.
Yeah, preferably me, but that's not a...
Do you want kids?
Yes.
Yes.
Maybe.
Do you have high standards?
Yes.
Probably.
Do guys usually pray for their significant other or marriage person?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thoughts on having a female best friend while dating?
No.
Questionable.
Does your family approve of your person?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Why do guys give mixed signals?
If it's a high school guy, then it's
That's why.
he's a
If it's a high school guy, that's why. Would you date someone who's not a virgin?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Are guys worried about sex compatibility before marriage?
No.
No.
What do you think about the analogy you should try before you buy it?
No.
Is there extra pressure to date from older Christians in your life?
Not for me. I'm pretty blessed to have people that are like, I feel like all the guys hype me up way too much. So
because he's so hot.
Okay. Okay, guys, that was the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Any final words, guys?
read your Bible.
Don't date jerks.
Communication is the most important thing.
Guys, those were all good. Good job. Hey. Okay, there might be a part 2 coming up, depending if you guys want another one with lots of questions. But we answered a lot of questions today. Good
There are
job,
a lot
guys.
more though.
There are so many more. Anyways, I love you guys. I'll see you in the next video. Yeah, so you guys have to kiss your hand.
No, we don't.
And then you have
Really?
to cover the camera. Yeah, you do.
Do it.
Say bye.
Bye.
Bye. There. Yeah, good job, guys.